Hello and welcome to Bounding into Comics. My name is John Trent. I'm the founder and editor-in-chief at Bounding into Comics. Today I got a story about the latest Soulless cash grab from Disney regarding Star Wars. In another piece of evidence that Star Wars has lost its soul and is just a cash grab for Disney, the company revealed their new Galactic Starcruiser ride is the location of Han Solo and Leia Organa's honeymoon. This detail was revealed in a blog post on the official Star Wars website where they promoted a new novel, Star Wars: The Princess and the Scoundrel, written by Beth Revis that focuses on Han Solo and Leia Organa's wedding and honeymoon. Associate editor Kristen Baver detailed, set just after the events of Star Wars: Return of the Jedi, the story begins on the forest moon of Endor, where Han proposes in the elation of the rebel victory against the Empire. After a ceremony at the site of the victory celebration at the end of the film, the newlyweds depart for a honeymoon aboard the Halcyon Starcruiser, the luxury vessel at the heart of the new Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser experience at Disney World Resort. In their most desperate hour, with the war still raging, but the Empire nearing its last gasp, the couple must outwit the Imperial remnants clinging to power. If you are unfamiliar with Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser, Disney describes it as a, quote, revolutionary new two-night experience where you are the hero. You and your group will embark on a first-of-its-kind Star Wars adventure that's your own. It's the most immersive Star Wars story ever created, one where you live a bespoke experience and journey further into a Star Wars adventure than you ever dreamed possible. Arrive at the Walt Disney World Resort Terminal, board a launch pad, and rendezvous with the magnificent Halcyon Starcruiser. Stay in a cabin or suite with an exquisite view of space. Throughout the ship, you'll interact with an eclectic collection of characters, sit down to exotic galactic cuisine, and perhaps even plot a secret mission together. As the itinerary continues, you'll take the story further and deeper. Choose your path, seek out the inner workings of the legendary starship, learn the traditional art of wielding a lightsaber, and even jump on a transport to the planet Batuu, where your mission continues at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. In a video promoting the lightsaber training, you swing your sword at a light that flashes around the room. They basically turn you into a cat with Disney using the laser pointer. It looks absolutely awful. Not only does it look terrible, the website details that prices begin at $4,809 for 2 guests. Other options increase to just shy of $6,000 with 3 adults and 1 child. One has to wonder how much it costs for a family of 4 or more. One would think it's a lot more. Not only is this new novel a soulless cash grab to try and promote Galactic Starcruiser, but author Beth Revis doesn't appear to know what she's actually talking about while discussing the book. When asked by Baver how she approached the story, Revis answered, "My initial instinct was to focus on Return of the Jedi, since this book picks up right after it. But as I dug into the story, I found myself watching The Empire Strikes Back on repeat. The emotional beats of Han and Leia's relationship start to spin out in Empire. It's not just the famous 'I know' line, but it's the way Leia relates, how she doesn't trust Lando, and Han responds with seriousness. The way their trust builds, all the moments that lead up to their confession of love. By the time Return of the Jedi picks up the story, Leia's been left with that confession long enough to get comfortable with the idea of it. It's one reason why the relationship between the two works. Leia was always going to be someone who had to think about something like love, and Han was always going to be someone who just followed his gut. I don't really see anything wrong with that, but here's the kicker. The time lapse between those two movies helped them both evolve so that they're on the same page by the time Han is unfrozen. I'm going to repeat that again so the stupid can sink into you. Revis said, the time lapse between those two movies helped them both evolve so that they're on the same page by the time Han is unfrozen.
You serious?
That's right, Han being frozen in carbonite allowed him to evolve and be on the same page with Leia. What in the world are you even saying? Han Solo is frozen in carbonite and hanging in Jabba's palace. He isn't doing any evolving. None whatsoever. He is frozen. That wouldn't be the only moment of what in the world are you thinking? In another one, Revis discusses how hard Han and Leia work to stay in love. She says, one thing that I love about the new movies is that Leia and Han don't actually end up in the idyllic, perfect family life that we like to think of as a happily ever after. Instead, they have to work for decades to remain in love, and they consistently choose to make that happen. That is literally not how it happens in The Force Awakens. They are literally separated from each other and have stopped working on their marriage completely. Leia even tells Han that when she sent Ben Solo to go and train with Luke Skywalker, she lost both Ben and Han. Nevertheless, Rivas attempts to justify her comments, saying, even if they're apart, they're still in love, not because of fate, but because they choose to be, and that's stunning. That was what I wanted to show about them as a couple, that they had a choice to make, and they chose each other. It's a variation of hope, in a way, which is the founding principle of all things Star Wars. The idea that every day we have a choice, and we just have to continue to choose love and hope. At any point, we can walk away when things get hard, but choosing not to, that's what real love is about. Han literally left Leia, and Leia left Han, as they both clearly state in The Force Awakens. They went back to what was familiar to them after Ben Solo fell to the dark side. They chose not to be together. That happens in the movie. That movie is a complete ripoff of the first film, but that is what happens in that film. So not only does the announcement of this novel reveal it's a soulless cash grab meant to promote the Galactic Starcruiser ride, but the author literally doesn't even understand basic plot points in Star Wars despite claiming to have watched the films. Again, how can Han evolve when he's frozen in carbonite, and how did Han and Leia choose to stay together when The Force Awakens makes it abundantly clear they chose to leave each other? On top of this, who wants to read a novel about Han and Leia's wedding and romance when you know they turn into terrible parents, leave each other, and Han ends up getting killed by his own son? That's exactly the story I would want to read. It really is. Star Wars, you're really hitting me with the target audience there. We really want to read about that story about Han and Leia's love that turns to ashes, just like your franchise has. I guess that's on brand for Disney. That's what they do now. They turn hopeful stories into ashes and dust. Those are my thoughts on the matter. Let me know what you think. My name is John Trent, and you've been watching Bounding into Comics.